Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for October 19, 2023. And in the news this evening, Portmore laborer gets a bail on charge of indecent assault of a minor. A Portmore laborer who was charged with committing a sexual offense against a 10-year-old girl was granted $300,000 bail when he appeared in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Thursday. Attorney Kadia Williams also successfully applied for the court to reduce the charge against Carlton Francis from sexual touching to indecent assault. Francis appeared before Senior Parish Court Judge Desiree Alain, where he pleaded guilty to threatening the child and was fined $1,000 or 10 days imprisonment. It is alleged that Francis assaulted the victim on August 13, and a report was made to the police. Francis later threatened the complainant. He is scheduled to reappear in court on January 22, 2024. Firearm and ammunition seized in Westmoreland, 4 arrested. 4 people are now in police custody following a firearm and ammunition seizure in the Belvedere community of Betheltown, Westmoreland on Thursday morning. The Jamaica Constabulary Force seized a rifle, an imitation firearm, and 11 rounds of ammunition were seized. They were seized during a pre-dawn police military operation supported by Westmoreland's operational support team. Correctional officers resume duties. Correctional officers across the island have resumed duties after staging a protest over the delayed response from the Ministry of Finance to their concerns about new salaries under the Public Sector Compensation Review Program. The resumption follows a planned meeting with the Finance Ministry to iron out what the correctional officers described as unequal pay when compared with members of the Jamaica Defense Force, Jamaica Constabulary Force, and the Jamaica Fire Brigade. In an interview with the news on Thursday morning, Chairman of the Jamaica Federation of Corrections, Arlington Turner, said the group is still awaiting that meeting. But for now, it's quite okay. All is secure for now. They haven't given us a date, but we were reached out to yesterday afternoon to say that they will be looking at a date, but they can't confirm the date without the minister, and they have not gotten that from his desk as yet. Mr. Turner hoped the minister would allow good sense to prevail, warning that if the issues continue, then we are going to have further problems. The correctional officers had expressed their frustration that there was no communication from the Finance Ministry to an October 6 letter in which they raised the objections to their placement in the salary band for uniformed groups. Under the new compensation package, correctional officers will receive less pay when compared to the JDF, JCF, or Fire Brigade. Chunk supports a mandatory minimum sentence for juveniles guilty of capital murder. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has come out in support of a mandatory minimum sentence for capital murder committed by juveniles. The minister made the declaration while addressing the Joint Select Committee of Parliament considering the Criminal Justice Administration Amendment Act. Minister Chuck says a minimum 20-year sentence is appropriate.
Here you have been indicted for capital murder. You plead guilty or you are found guilty for capital murder, which has a possibility of death or life imprisonment. And the question is, how long should that person serve before they're eligible for parole? We have to be bold and make it firm that anyone, especially youngsters who understand what they're doing, and I believe from your age 15 going up, you clearly must understand what you're doing and the consequence of what may happen if you're apprehended and you get convicted in a court of law. I would urge us to agree that this section applies only to capital murder, and we agree with the 20 years, not less than 20 years. This bill should send that signal, especially to parents, to control their young people. Because if they don't, they may well be visiting these children for the next 20 years in jail. If we don't impose a sentence that satisfies the public interest and satisfy the sentiments of the friends and families of the victim, we leave ourselves open that those families, friends of the victim may well feel that the justice system has failed them. And I dare say there are far too many instances of revenge and retaliation because victims of whatever type of crime feel that they must take the law into their own hands to exact revenge and retaliation.
Leslie Campbell to appear in court for breaches of Integrity Commission Act. The case involving former State Minister of Foreign Affairs Leslie Campbell, who is charged with failing to provide information relating to his statutory declarations, was again mentioned in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. Following the tabling of an Integrity Commission report in Parliament in June, the anti-corruption body's Director of Corruption Prosecution, Keisha Prince Kamiko, recommended that Mr. Campbell be charged. When the matter was mentioned Thursday afternoon, Mr. Campbell's attorney, Matthew Hyatt, apologized for his client's absence and asked the judge to stay the warrant until October 31. Mr. Campbell is accused of breaching Section 43(1)(b) of the Integrity Commission Act. The Integrity Commission says Mr. Campbell filed the statutory declarations but did not provide additional information that had been requested. Responding to the report, Mr. Campbell said he is requesting an urgent review of the decision. He says the Commission continues to request the surrender value for an insurance policy, Guardian Life Care Plus, which has no surrender value. In the Commission's report, the Director of Investigations said 39 requests were issued in writing between 2016 and 2020 for Mr. Campbell to provide certain information, but the former lawmaker only partially complied with the request. The Commission said the outstanding information includes the surrender value for 2 life insurance policies and the account balance linked to a bank loan. Mechanic charged in relation to Old Harbour car stealing ring pleads guilty. Cleon Mills, the mechanic who was arrested and charged in connection with a car stealing ring in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Thursday, pleaded guilty and is to be sentenced next year. On August 1, police conducted an operation in the Gordonwood community, during which 11 stolen motor vehicles were found. Days later, investigators charged Mills, otherwise called a tall man, with larceny of motor vehicle and receiving stolen property after he failed to account for the vehicles. The vehicles were seized and a comprehensive investigation launched, which resulted in Mills being charged. But prior to pleading guilty in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court, Mills told the senior judge Lorraine Cole Montague he was contacted on July 29 by an individual who requested his service to disassemble 3 crashed motor vehicles. Mills said the person suggested he meet with them at a location in Church Pen, St. Catherine, but he insisted that they should take the vehicles to his shop. Having heard his explanation, Judge Cole Montague ordered a social inquiry report. He was further remanded until January 4 for sentencing. Work lagging on some education transformation targets. Despite some progress being made in the process of transforming the education sector, there are still areas that are lagging. Chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, Dr. Adrian Stokes, said commitments have been made by the stakeholders to ensure the targets are back on track. Implementation work has started on 93 of the 365 recommendations outlined in the Arlonda Patterson report to transform the sector. Dr. Stokes said the training of early childhood professionals is one area that is lagging.
One initiative that requires more work to bring it up to date is making the reports from the National Education Inspectorate public. But that's the first one. Attention is needed to bring that to a current status. The second one is in the early childhood sector, the initiative that calls for improved staffing and training of the team. That's a critical sector, and work needs to be advanced in a more significant way. The third one, this has the important role of really transforming our education sector, and that has to do with implementation of broadband infrastructure in schools.
2 men arrested for monitoring ABMs in the corporate area. 2 men have been taken into custody following reports that they were seen driving around the corporate area on Thursday, reportedly monitoring automated banking machines. The news was informed that the Honda Fit motor vehicle in which the men were traveling was intercepted by members of the Specialized Operations Unit along Hope Road sometime after 2 o'clock. The men, said to be from Seaview Gardens, St. Andrew, are being processed.